I wish Shonen Jump didn't axe greens. It was a story that truly honed in on an aspect of shonen manga that I think should always be present. A core facet to being a human that can be forgotten. Greens is a story about finding your passion and making the effort to improve at it. There are no big monsters or demons, just a main character growing of their own volition, spurred on by those around them. Haku Yaisaki's journey through Greens is one of a directionless high schooler finding purpose in golf. Slowly over the course of the 26 chapters, he falls further and further in love with the sport and in the process of getting better. His growth is his own, but there's another key character in Greens that spurs him on. The girl who first exposed him to golf, Nadeshiko Oga. Green's greatest gift is the dynamic between Yaisaki and Oga. Yaisaki looks up to Oga as someone who he wants to be like, to stand on the same stage as. On several occasions, Oga is the one to give Yaisaki that nudge forward to propel him to grow even more. She teaches him so much about golf out of respect for his commitment to growth. But even without Oga, Yaisaki is committed to improving. His growth is understated with the blistered hands and hundreds of thousands of balls shot. The dynamic between the two is a driving force, but both are motivated by their own desires. Yaisaki finally found something he wants to dedicate himself to and is overjoyed at the process of recreating the ideal. He's searching for the elation that comes from that perfect hit, the hits where his soul rejoices in triumph. And the manga is watching those events unfold time and time again as Yaisaki continues to improve. Of course, he has the shonen protagonist buff of picking up the sport very easily and having a skilled disposition for it, but he's also just a very motivated individual. So much of the story is Yaisaki trying to get better at a specific part of golf and pushing every fiber of his being into reaching it. He can't hit far enough, so he pours his soul, with a little help from Oga, into hitting an incredibly far shot. Yaisaki is an inspiring character. His motivation and drive give me secondhand strength. It is a constant reminder to always be improving, to always stay hungry for knowledge and growth because life will give you ample opportunities to eat. And Yaisaki is always eager to learn more, to fill in the gaps of his knowledge in whatever way possible. He's a character who is boundlessly motivated and endlessly hungry, but his motivation stems from watching Oga. Oga is already pretty good at golf, but she's someone who continues to put in the hours and continues to hone her golf skills. She wants to reach the world stage on her own, not in the shadow of her professional golfer mother, which is a good enough motivation in and of itself, but through Yaisaki, she develops another person who pushes her to grow. Yaisaki's first real golf match is a highlight in the series because it establishes an incredible dynamic between Yaisaki and Oga. The former enters with the sole goal of getting a singular birdie while Oga is watching, and the latter is just treating it as another game until she is challenged. Yaisaki's birdie was meant to be an acknowledgement, but ended up becoming closer to a declaration of war. It awakens a drive in Oga not to be outdone, to steal her resolve and go on the attack. And what ensues is the beginning of a dynamic that highlights how humans can grow the best with other people to really push them onwards. They become a cyclical cycle of driving each other to grow as human beings and as golfers. There's a key moment in this arc that adds an extra layer of greatness to their dynamic. Oga is motivated by Yaisaki, but she also respects his abilities once he challenges her. He's no longer just this new kid on the block, but someone she respects as a golfer. I could go for hundreds more chapters of the two inspiring each other to grow and aim higher. Sadly, we will never see that, but in the final few chapters, Terasaka gives us that last cherry on top of solidifying their dynamic as one of my favorites. Fast forward to the end of the next arc, where Yaisaki's experience as a caddy for Oga, and at the end of the match, Oga loses and just wants a second to herself, but Yaisaki instinctively stays with her, and in turn, the roles are reversed for a moment. Yaisaki is able to show and articulate just how much he respects Oga, but a key change has happened. He's able to console her, to be a rock for her while she lets out her emotions and her frustrations. It's such a simple scene, but it is an incredible display of just being there for someone. Sometimes all it's needed is to just nod in agreement and let someone's emotions explode before returning to the battlefield to improve the next day. I'm gonna miss their dynamic so much now that the series is over. I'll miss having such a great example of two people who constantly spur each other to grow. Maybe another manga will capture that same energy, but with all the Exorcist manga joining Shonen Jump, I'm not incredibly hopeful, but I'm open to being surprised. Ultimately, Green Green Greens ended as a manga about growth. We may be at varying stages of our lives, but we're always growing and changing. We grow through adversity and overcoming the challenges before us, and even if we fail, we get back up and try again. It's just a stepping stone on the path of life as a whole. Green Green Greens may have ended prematurely, and that hurts to have gotten a taste of the big leagues but to have it fall to the axe. But you can include Kento Terasaka in the final pages of Green Green Greens. The manga may be over, but he'll get back up again. He'll keep challenging himself to grow higher and further. Because life's not always a big series of giant leaps forward. Sometimes it's just one step at a time. The final few pages of Green Green Greens are a comforting one. After expecting a more mangled ending, as is usually the case for Shonen Jump manga that get axed, Terasaka gives us one that distills the series' core ethos. It may not be a conclusive ending, but it still gets the point across, and the ultimate message of Green Green Greens is that it's okay to fail. Growth is a journey that is only just begun. Sometimes it'll be rough, but to hit that ideal shot after all the practice will make the catharsis hit even harder. Reaping the fruits of your own labors will be much more satisfying when you can back it up against the blood, sweat, and tears that you put in to get there. Green Green Greens is one of the subsets of Shonen Jump that I really love. These grounded stories that are just there to give you faith in yourself and encourage you to keep fighting the good fight. It scratches the same itch as Haikyuu, but based around a much more individualized sport. I may not be good at any sports manga that has existed, but I find them such compelling stories because of how they reach these universal truths about growth and getting better at really anything. You can apply the same messages gleaned from Green Green Greens towards any endeavor. I've been picking up drawing and rereading the manga for this script. It got me to immediately practice some more. For my drawings may not look super great at the moment, but by challenging myself and accepting failure as a part of the process, I can grow.